Can someone please confirm if my screen is visible? Are we good to proceed? Type yes in the chat box. Okay, thank you for the confirmation. So let's do a quick recap. We have already completed 3 Java sessions till yesterday, and let us revise a little bit about the yesterday's topic. So what was the yesterday's discussion? We were discussing about Java history, isn't it? So let me open that for you. Yes. Okay, so this was the actual topic that we were discussing yesterday, right? Let me allow people in. Okay, so we have understood the history of Java, the evolution of Java. So how Java was evolved exactly in 1991. In the year 1991, there was a popular programming language called Pascal, right? It was developed by Nicholas Worth. So what he did, he actually understood the Sun microsystem requirements, and he wanted to give a solution. And of course, he gave a solution to the Sun microsystem. And Sun microsystem, however, they rejected the solution which was given by Nicholas Worth, because the solution was given by using procedural oriented programming language, right? Because Sun microsystems wants the new programming language to be designed by using object oriented programming language. That's why in 1991 the suggestion from Nicholas Worth was rejected by Sun microsystem, because the solution was provided by using procedural oriented programming language. After 1991, in 1992, exactly in the month of December, James Gosling and his team were able to successfully complete the programming language, and they want to name that programming language after something. So what they were thinking in the cabin, so they were consuming in the canteen, in the office cabin, they used to observe a tree next to them, which is the oak tree. So they thought, they decided to name the programming language after the oak tree. However, this suggestion was rejected by Sun Microsystem, because there was already a programming language by the name of oak, right? So later they thought that instead of naming the programming language after oak, they thought they can name the programming language by the famous coffee name, which is Java, they used to consume at that point of time. Java is an island in Indonesia, and it is a popular coffee brand at that time. So they decided to name the programming language after Java, and the programming language has become was Java. So far so good. Till 1992 December, programming language was successfully named after Java. Then what happened? They want to install that programming language into the electronic device, right? The third phase, the next phase. What is that electronic device? They want to install that newly developed programming language in the electronic device, which is called as what? The Star 7 remote controller. What is it? The Star 7 remote controller. 1 minute, guys. Okay, so this is the Star 7 remote controller. They successfully installed the newly developed programming language, and they have also named that programming language as Java. They've installed that in the remote controller. However, this model has become a complete failure, because it did not reach that much, and it is not encouraged and accepted by many of the people. It was not the output or the performance was not up to the mark. So the newly developed programming language become an utter failure. Then after that, it was in 1994 exactly. So Java was introduced. Meanwhile, it was in 1994. There was a good boom for the internet browser, and the name of the browser is Mosaic browser. So this was eventually developed by Mark Anderson. He was a UG student. There was a big demand for the internet browser. So what the Sun Microsystem thought to introduce this Java programming language to the new browser. So they want to introduce a new browser by using the Java programming language. For that, from the Sun Microsystems, there are two prominent members, Jonathan Paine and Patrick Naughton. 1995, they introduced a browser called Odd Java browser. So Java became very popular, especially for this browser. The actual purpose of developing Java was to be installed in this remote controller, star 7 remote controller, but it was failed. But it took succeeded in getting successful in the browsing market. It has got a lot of influence, and people started liking and observing, and the programming language Java has got much influence after getting introduced as the Odd Java browser. Then people started following this Java, and they decided, and the commercially it has become very popular, and they have used Java applets in the Java or Java browser. So after all this observation, the Sun Microsystem has decided to release the first official version of Java, in which year 1996 January 23rd JDK 1.0 was released in the market. This is the exact birthday of Java, 1996 January 23rd. So this is the history of Java that we have discussed yesterday. Apart from that, what we have discussed, guys, we have also discussed about difference between Java and other programming language. So difference between Java and other programming language. The first difference is what? Why C and C++ are static programming language, and why Java is a dynamic one? Very, very popular interview question. Okay. So what does it really mean? If any programming language that allocates memory for primitive data types by default. So you must remember this point, compilation time. Any programming language that is going to allocate memory during the compilation time is called a static programming language. The opposite, okay, if any programming language allocates memory for the primitive data types by default during the runtime or the execution time. The only one word difference is here. Here is compilation means the memory is getting allocated during compilation time, it is static. Memory is allocated during the runtime or the execution time, it is dynamic. So Java comes under dynamic programming language, and C and C++ comes under static programming language. For this, we have understood this with a brilliant example. What is that example? You want to download a Titanic movie to your Samsung mobile, and the capacity of the movie is 3 GB, but your Samsung has the space of only 1 GB. You cannot download the complete movie, isn't it? Because static means it is going to get downloaded in an advance. After downloading the complete movie, then you can start watching. This is just like a kind of static thing. Okay, if you want to watch the movie, first you need to download it completely, then you can start watching. It talks about static functionality. C is like that only. Whereas Java, it is just like watching the same movie in the Netflix streaming platform. If you want to watch the complete Titanic movie, if it is of 3 GB capacity, you can watch it through the buffering in an advance, on demand. Right? It is not required for the Netflix to download the complete movie so that you can start watching you can start enjoying the movie. It is not like that. On demand, you can download it. During the runtime, you can watch it. So this is talking about the runtime or execution time. This is talking about the compilation time. So this example is meant for C, C++, and this Netflix example is meant for Java. So this was the discussion that we have done yesterday, and today we are going to talk about and see, guys, these things, difference between Java and C others. There are almost 10 popular interview questions. So this is very important for freshers, as well as these questions are very, very important for experienced candidates as well. So pay some attention. We are going to jump into the programming part very soon. Till that, I need you to put some attention on this theory part. These are very, very important for the interview room. Right? The next popular question: why preprocessor is required in C and C++ but not in Java? Okay, today's topic. The question should be, what is the preprocessor? What is the actual preprocessor? What does it mean to be a preprocessor? Processor is nothing but a chip. I'll tell you what is a preprocessor. Before understanding preprocessor, I want you to follow this diagram. What is the question actually? Why preprocessor is required in C and C++ but not in Java? Right? So let us understand about preprocessor. For example, if you're writing any C programming language, any C programming code, let us say that I'm writing a piece of C code. So this is my C code. Okay, I've written few lines of C code. One, okay, some lines of C code. Okay, so I am going to save this code as dot C extension. Okay, so whenever I'm writing something in the C programming language, so I am going to use the high level language. What is that? High level language. When I say high level language, this high level language is the human understandable language, the language that is understood by you and understood by me, right? So I am writing something in the high level language by using the C program. Okay? I want to compile this code. I want to compile this code so that the machine can understand. In my computer is working on Windows operating system, right? Whenever I'm writing some programming language, it is high level, which means human can easily read it. But if I want to make my machine to understand this language, first of all I need to perform the compilation. What I want to perform? I want to perform what? I want to perform the compilation. Okay, what compilation will do? Compilation will ensure that the level language will be converted to the low level language, or else I can say that the high level representation will be converted to what? Converted to the low level representation. High level representation will be converted to low level representation, right? So this is my C program and I have written few lines of code and I want to perform the compilation. So after compilation, I want to do what? I want to convert it into what? The machine understandable language, which is what? .exe, right? The machine needs to understand what we are writing, so that the compilation is very mandatory, right? So a .exe file has been generated. So this is kind of, you can call it as a byte code or zeros and ones, which machines can understand, something like this. Okay, this is high level language and this is what? This is low level language, I can say. Low level language. Okay. After having this conversion, so we actually call this as .exe file, .executable file. So .c file is nothing but it's an extension. You can name anything. Any name .c means it is a C language, high level language. After compilation, you are doing what? You are making sure that your computer is understanding just by doing this compilation process. Compilation is nothing but it is going to check for errors, will do some corrections, it is going to add some files if it is necessary, it is going to add some dependencies, whatever your computer needs is required, what kind of information that your computer will understand, that information will be done, that process will be done by this compilation, right? After this it will be converted to low level language. After the low level language, the actual execution starts. What happens? The actual execution starts, right? Execution, right? So after the execution, you are going to get the relevant required output. Output will be produced depending upon the program that you have written. This is the process how your code is going to get the internal conversions. Okay. First thing, this is your high level language code. Compilation has to happen. Then the machine code will be generated. You can call it as low level language. Then the execution will start and the machine is going to generate the output. Right? Now what we are talking about? We are talking about the preprocessor. Okay, this compilation is again is divided into many subcategories. Pay some attention, a very important thing. So you have something like preprocessor, and under this preprocessor you have something like the compiler, and under this you have something like assembler. Under this you have something like what? Loader or link editor. Okay. So you have so compilation is not a direct thing. In order to complete the compilation has to go through all this process one by one. First of all, it needs to talk to preprocessor. From preprocessor, it has to talk to compiler, and from compiler, it has to talk to assembler. From assembler, it has to talk to loader, linker. Don't worry about these things. You're going to understand what is this preprocessor. Okay, so compilation is not a direct thing. The moment you give the high level language, it has to go through the compilation means again it will go to towards this direction. Which direction? Towards this direction, and it has to complete preprocessor thing, it has to complete compiler thing, it has to complete assembler. So many things will happen internally. Okay? And again, since I am talking about the compiler, I want to expand this compiler also. Okay, again this compiler is further categorized into many types. Let me put that for you. So you have something like lexical analysis, syntax analysis, semantic analysis. These are the theory things, guys. You don't need to worry much about this. Just understanding is important, because we are going to learn the Java. We are just learning the Java programming language. So before we are jumping into the actual programming part, this theory is very important to to get comfortable in the interview room. Right? So these are expected questions for the freshers as well as for the experienced candidates. Code optimization is there, and we have something like code generation. This is a broader picture about the compilation process of C language. Why we are discussing C language? Just to understand why preprocessor is not required in Java. We must understand why it is there in C. Then we can be able to understand why it is not there in Java. Right? So these are the segregations that you have for the compiler. So lexical analysis, syntax analysis, semantic analysis, intermediate code generation, code optimization, and code generation. So if you see this diagram, so we are talking about this preprocessor. We're talking about what? We are talking about this preprocessor, right? So the moment you give your code, the moment you're writing some code in the C programming language, let us say that I have a code like this, guys. Okay, this is my simple C language code. Okay, let me paste it here. So this is my simple C language code. Hope you're able to see this code, right? This is my C code. So this is the high level code. I will save this code as with .c extra. Let us say that my code .c, right? After this, I will send this code for the compilation. So compiler will come into the picture. So let us directly say that say it as I'm going to send this code for the compilation. Compilation. So you need to make one observation. The moment this code is getting compiled, the moment this code is getting sent to the compilation, in C programming language, especially in C programming language, the complete predefined libraries are in the header files. Let me repeat. In C programming language, the complete predefined files are there in the header files. Header files that are preceded with the symbol hash. This is very important. Okay. In C programming language, the complete predefined libraries are there in header files that are preceded with the symbol hash. What happens during the compilation? The compiler will check each and every line of code. First line will be checked, second, everything will be code. At the time of checking, it is going to find, is there any statement that is getting preceded with this symbol? Is there any statement that is getting preceded with this symbol? there is a statement which is called that's include statement. So this will be treated as what? This will be treated as the header file. So all these statements that is getting preceded by this symbol will be handled by this preprocessor. Okay, each and every line of code will be checked, guys. Any statements that is having this header, such as hash include stdio.h. Sometimes you have like hash include math.x. These are the specialized symbols that you will be having header files. Hash include standard input.h, standard stdio.h, and you have something like hash include ponyo.h, something like hash include math.h. Okay. All these hash include statements will be identified by the preprocessor. Preprocessor will load the header files to the memory at the time of compilation time. What happens the moment you submit this code at the time of compilation? At the time of compilation, the preprocessor will come into the picture. Okay, the preprocessor will go and check inside the actual code. It is going to find the hash includes header statements. After finding the statements, this preprocessor is going to communicate with the C software. This is going to internally it is going to get communicate with the C software. Inside the C software, it is going to identify all the header files. It is going to identify all the header files as listed in the program, and starts the compilation, and it is called as static loading. Nothing is doing. Preprocessor is there just to look into the C code, and it will identify all the header files that starts with hash statement, and it is going to do what? Preprocessor will check into the C software. It is going to identify all the header files as listed in the program and it starts a compilation. It is going to it is called as what? The static loading. Everything will be loaded in the memory at the time of what? At the time of the compilation time itself. Every header file will be loaded in the memory at the time of compilation time itself. That's why the preprocessor is required in the C and C++ programming language. Okay. To understand this simple language, simple logic. Understanding simple logic, we are understanding what is really happening behind the scenes with this preprocessor. Preprocessor is just a component. It's just a part inside the compilation. Okay, it is going to recognize all the header files that is given in the C programming language. After recognizing it, it is going to communicate with the C software to check is these header files are available in the software or not. If it is available, then it is going to load all these header files during the compilation time, and that process is called as what? The static loading. And this is the reason why preprocessor are required in C and C++ programming language. And after completing this, the actual compiler is going to do what? The job of preprocessor is to deal with these header files. The job of the compiler is to convert all this code, remaining code, this int main, this printf, this return 0, this brackets, everything will be converted to what? Byte code. Byte code means what? Zeros and ones. It will be converted to the machine understandable language like zeros and ones, things like that. Okay, but these header files will be taken care by whom? These header files will be taken care by what? Preprocessor. Preprocessor is going to load all the header files accordingly during the compilation time itself. So preprocessor will load all the header files. Header files during the compilation time itself. Right? So now we have understood why preprocessor is required in Java. So after preprocessor, compiler will come into the picture. Compiler will do the actual things, and you have the assembler. These are the internal things. You have the loader or link editor. These are the legacy things, which is really, these are the internal things which is not even required to understand about the preprocessor. And after this, you might be seeing this lexical analysis, syntax analysis. These are the compiler internal things, semantic analysis. These are something like the grammatical checks, the format checks, the syntax checks, everything, every code and the related to the content checks. For example, if you're writing something in English like how are you, grammatically it is correct. Can I write it like how is you? Even though it is in English, it is not incorrect. Right? We call it as what? Syntax mistake. Right? You can read it, but it is not correct. It is not correct. So this is these things will be taken care by this analysis, syntax analysis, semantic, or the grammatical part, all the wordings part. If you are something, sometimes if you are writing for integer, if you are writing 1 minute. For integer is like this. If instead of int, if you are writing intt, so it is the syntax error. Okay, these are the semantic error. Semantic error means obviously the grammatical mistake. Syntax means the spelling mistakes. Right? So these things will be, this part is going to take all error handling things. So this is why actually the preprocessor is required just to handle these header files. Now the question is why preprocessor is not required in Java. We understood what is preprocessor, why it is required in C and C++. We have understood why it is required in C and C++ programming language. We have understood. Okay, now the question is why it is not required in Java. Why it is in the sense why preprocessor is not required in Java. Why preprocessor is not required in Java. So this is the actual question. Right? So to understand this in Java, so you must pay some attention here. In Java, do you know that the complete predefined libraries? So there are some predefined libraries in Java, guys. The complete predefined libraries are provided in the form of classes and interfaces in a package. Okay, in C the predefined libraries are provided in the form of headers. Just we have discussed that in C and C++, the predefined libraries are provided in the form of headers like hash include standard input stt io.h, something like that. But in Java, the complete predefined libraries are provided in the form of what? Packages, form of classes and interfaces, which are internally there inside the packages. We call them as packages. So you call package like java.input io package, and you have some package like java.util package. You have package like java.sql package. So in order to get access to these packages, so you use import statements in Java. Import java.io.star. Likewise, you have import java.util.star. star. Like this, you have like you have statements like import java.sql.star. Okay. Let us take a small Java program. Still, I did not start taking the Java program. For the example purpose, I am giving this program. So pay some attention here. So I want to take a small Java program. So let us say that import java.lang.star. I want to write a class. Name of the class is my first program. Okay. Don't worry about this code. We are going to see this code in detail. To understand this preprocessor, I am giving you that much explanation. And I am taking a method public static void main string array box. Okay, inside this method, I want to take a simple instruction system.out.println hello world. Okay, this is my simple Java program. If you understand the difference, the C program you're using something like headers like include stdio.h, but in Java instead of that you're using something like an import statement. What is the main difference between include and import statement? To recognize this import statement in Java, the preprocessor is not required. To recognize this to recognize the import statement or the headers in C, to recognize the headers, preprocessor is required. But in Java, to recognize these headers, preprocessor is not required in Java. First of all, okay, directly those import statements are recognized by the compiler directly. You want to convert this compilation process to the Java programming language, instead of .c, convert this .c, remove this .c as and keep it as .java here, right? Instead of .exe, take it as .class here. Okay, and preprocessor will not be there. Everything is going to be same, right? Why preprocessor is not there in Java? What happens in internally? What is going to happen is, as soon as you start compiling this code, okay, after the compilation, let us say that this is a compilation. Okay, the compiler will recognize the import statement. The compiler will compute the picture. The compiler will recognize the import statement, and after recognize import statement, it will connect with the Java software. It will connect with the Java software. Previously, which is recognizing the include statement. Here, the preprocessor is recognizing the include statement for the C and C++. But in Java, the compiler itself is recognizing the import statement, and it is checking with the Java software whether the given import statement is existed or not. Whether the given import statement is existed or not. If it is existed, it will not throw any error. It will just stay silent. Okay. After the it will give the green signal. If it is existed, it will give the green signal for the execution. If it is existed, it's going to give the green signal for the execution. Okay, execution will happen. Okay, and the output will be produced in the console. You will get the output in the console. So this is the output. Output is going to be what? Something like hello world. Hello world. If the import statement is available in the Java software, compiler is going to check this and it is going to stay silent, and the actual import statement will be loaded at the time of execution time only. Actually, the import statement will be loaded here. Import statements will be loaded at the execution time or the runtime. At the runtime. But in the previous records, you see that the include statements are getting loaded in the compilation time, because C and C programming language is what? It is following the static loading. Static loading, you remember, right? It is following what? Static loading. But in Java, the import statement is not recognized by preprocessor. It is recognized by the compiler during the compilation time. If it is going to find whether the import statement is there in the Java software or not. If it is there, it is going to remain silent, and all these import statements will be loaded in the runtime, not the compilation time, the runtime or at the execution time. Okay, so that is why the preprocessor concept is not even there in the Java programming language. Okay, since it is getting recognized at the runtime. For example, let us say that you are giving some other import statements like which is not even available. For example, I am saying that import Java dot something like ABC hash. Okay, what happens during the compilation? The compiler will come into the picture. It will check whether this import statement is available in the Java software or not. It will check with the Java software, right? And Java software will say, hey, I am not able to find this import statement inside the Java software. This particular import statement is not there. So it is going to throw an error in the compilation time itself. In the compilation time, it is going to throw error like package does not exist. Package XXS does not exist. If it is there, it is going to stay silent, but in the runtime, it will be loaded. Dynamic loading. Loading will happen dynamically during the runtime. If any programming language loads the memory in the runtime, that is called as what? Dynamic loading. Loading will happen in the dynamic time, runtime. Right? If it is not there, error will come in the compilation time. If it is there, it will be loaded in the execution time. Are able to follow? So preprocessor concept is not there because compiler is going to check these things. But whereas in C and C++, the preprocessor is going to check the header files, but whereas in Java, the compiler itself is going to check this, but the actual loading will happen at the execution time if it is there. If it is not there, error will come. If it is there, error will not come. It will be loaded in the runtime. Are able to follow? See guys, these theories things are a little bit tricky and very important to be observed. So once the programming concept starts, and the classes will be very much interesting. So these things are being asked in the interview rooms. That's why I have drafted so many interview questions so far. So far we have identified 8 interview questions. By today it is going to be the 9th interview question, this preprocessor thing, right? After this completing this, we are going to understand about the why Java is platform independent. Very popular interview question. Then few more theory questions are there. Then after that we'll start jumping into the first Java program. Till that I need your attention. So these things are very important for the fresher level as well as for the experience level. Right? So are everyone with me? What is 10 minus 5? Type in the chat box. 10 minus 5. What is it? I want to check if everyone are with me. Come on. What is 10 minus 5? Good. Correct answers. Correct. Okay, everyone are with me. Thank you. Jyoti is still typing, huh? Good. Okay. I know everyone knows 10 minus 5 is 5, but the idea here is I just want to ensure that you people are with me. Okay. Okay, guys. So let us go into theory. So now I want you to understand. Okay. What are the Don't worry about the note, guys. I will give you the excellent notes. I will be sending it to your email addresses. Just study those notes. You can crack any Java interview. Okay. So what is the difference between include statement and import statement? there are 5 major differences. We have discussed about include statement and import statement. This is one of the popular interview questions. Okay, so as include statement, very simple, is existed. If anyone is asking you this kind of question, you can simply answer as include statement is existed in a C and C++ programming language. What difficulty is there? C and C++ programming language, whereas import statement is existed in Java programming language. First line is very simple. First differentiation, right? Import statement is existed in Java programming language. First difference. Okay, the second difference, as include statement are used to include predefined library existed in the form of header files. The header files is a topics in C and C++ programming language. Okay. Likewise, the import statement, instead of hash include, you can type import statements are used to include three different libraries existed in the form of packages. So import means package, hash include means header files. So this is the acronyms. You do not have to think much about this. These are just the acronyms. You need to get acquainted with these acronyms, with these terminologies especially, right? And the third one, so hash include statements are always recognized by what? Preprocessor. Hash include statements are always recognized by the preprocessors. Okay. Import statements are recognized by what? Compilers. Java compilers. Import statements are recognized by the compilers, or else I can say that Java compiler. Okay. The fourth point, hash include statement supports static loading, because preprocessor will check for the header files during the compilation time, right? So that's why hash include statement supports static loading. Memory will be loaded during the compilation time. Static loading. Whereas import statement supports dynamic loading. Dynamic loading. Last point. Please be informed that the single include statements, single include statement is able to load only one header file. Example, you can use only this include std.h. It can load only one header file, like this include conio.h include math.h. So you cannot combine these three into one. You cannot combine these three together as one. But whereas for import statement, can load many packages at one line. Example, import java.util.star. Star is representing all the sub packages under the main packages, which is util. So this is the only difference. Okay, what are the difference between as include statement and import statement? The first difference is include statement is existed in C and C++ programming language, import in Java programming language. The second statement. What is the second statement? Include statements are used to include predefined library exist in the form of header files. Import, they are existed in the form of packages. Third one, these are recognized by the preprocessors, but import statements are recognized by Java compilers. Because preprocessor concept is not there in Java. Right. The fourth point, include statements support static loading. Import statements support what loading? Dynamic loading. Okay. The fifth point, please be informed that the single include statement is able to load only one header file. So okay, if you have 100 header files, you should load 100 header files. You cannot combine all these header files as a single one. But whereas in Java, import statement can have many packages at one line. For example, the moment you use import statement like import star.util, import java.util.star, the star is representing many, something like, for example, you have a list. Okay. So these are the import statements. Linked list. Okay. So these are the packages, these are the sub packages. Stack. Okay. Instead of keeping these three, you can keep all these three as a one line. What is that one line? You can directly use import java.util.star. Both are same. Instead of keeping three separate things, just use star so that every sub package will be listed here. But that is what the statement means. Okay. So this is the difference between include. So we got to know what is a preprocessor in Java. Right. I will give you the notes and I will send you to your email addresses, and I will keep this in the interview questionnaires. So far we have 8 interview questions, right? And today it is going to be the 9th one. 10. Today we have made 2 more questions. What is preprocessor and what is the difference between include and the import statement? Okay. And the next topic is going to be is very interesting and very important topic. Why C and C++ programming language is a platform dependent. Why Java is platform independent programming language. So this topic is going to give you the goosebumps. Tomorrow we are going to see this topic. This is going to be very interesting and very important interview question, even for freshers and even for the experienced candidates. Trust me, this is going to be very interesting. You will understand a lot of internal things about how the Java is going to communicate with the software so that it is being recognized as the platform independent programming language. Don't miss the tomorrow's class. Meanwhile, for the today, I just want you to understand the first Java code. Let us take the first code as a public class my first program. Okay, so this is, we call it as class. Don't worry about this. So I just want you to type this in the online compiler so that you can execute it by yourself. Public static void in string array box. Okay, so this part is called as method. This outer part is called as class, and inside this you have instruction. System dot out dot println the first Java program. Okay, so this is the first Java program. If you have time, you just type this just like this and open your online compiler and Java like this, Java online compiler. Click here. Okay, remove this and paste the code and run it here. take the name of the program as main itself, because online compiler is going to recognize the main class name as main itself, because we are using the compiler, so we should depend upon the compiler. Just try to run this code in your system, in your online compiler. We are going to see this each and every keyword in detail, like class, what is main, what is public, what is static, and why we are supposed to write all this, and what is the reason behind this method, why these braces, everything. We're going to see this in detail. Since we are discussing their part, I want you to get some taste about the program. So if you have time, just try to open the online compiler and type this code, try to execute this. The program is the case sensitive programming language. If it is in small letter, it should be small letter. If it's in capital letter, it should be in capital letter. And if you want to make any changes here, you can make changes here. Okay, if you can write anything here. My first, instead of writing my first program, you can write anything. Hello world, something like this. Hello world, whatever it is. Hello world, whatever you want, you can write it here. If you want, you can write multiple lines, like a paragraph. Everything is going to work, but don't change the keywords name, right? So any questions for me for the day? I will send you the recording to your WhatsApps. If you have any doubts, you can please feel free to call me anytime. I will be happy to help. So thank you so much for your time and have a great day. We will meet tomorrow.